Hello there, and welcome back to the Chap's Guide. I'm your host, Ash, and I take you on a journey into men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now, one of the great joys of running a YouTube channel of this nature is that people correspond with me and they ask me for advice, and I think I'm going to try and include more of these questions into the videos, because my thinking is if one chap amongst us is, looking for support and advice, perhaps there'll be more of us, and sharing the questions and my observations in return might be beneficial. So I'm going to talk about one today. I've received a lovely email from a gentleman called Sam. Now, I'm going to paraphrase. Sam is 45 years of age. He's a postman and he lives in Adelaide in southern Australia. And in his working life, he has no particular requirement to dress in a smart fashion. But around about 10 years ago, he said he took the decision to become an intentionally well-dressed man. We've all been on that journey, Sam, and I'm with you all the way. Now, he describes his style as being more European and older, although he's 45. He typically wears chinos, shirts, waistcoats and blazers. Never leaves the house without a nice hat, good choice. Especially, I imagine it's a necessity in Australia with the heat. And he says he recently ventured out of the house for the first time, carrying a dress cane for the first time. And he went on a family trip to a museum. He said it made him feel great and it elicited lots of positive comments and started a number of conversations with strangers, which is a great feature, I think, of being an intentionally well-dressed gentleman. And the question that Sam poses really is this: at what point do you know that you've crossed the line into peacock territory? I have already done some soul searching, and I'm adamant I don't dress this way to show off, just as an expression of who I am. My wife jokes I was born in the wrong century. Well, I think I can appreciate that. Sam says he's confident wearing fedoras, bowlers, top hats, and now canes. But the thought of peacocking niggles sometimes. Also have to bear in mind that in Australia, where he lives, many men dress as 5-year-olds, he says, wearing jeans, t-shirts and hoodies. Now, I think it's worth saying, peacocking, what's that? Well, peacocking, I think the understanding there is that, somebody who dresses in an unusually flamboyant manner to attract the attention and the interest of others. And I think that's what I actually understand. That's what Sam means by peacocking. So he's asking us the question, even though he thoroughly enjoys carrying a dress cane, should he do so because it really makes him stand out from the herd and attracts attention from others? Now, I think before we answer Sam's question with my observation, we have to delve into the origin story of the item here which is causing the issue. And that's the dress cane. He's stepped, one layer above everybody else, and he started carrying something which is unusual and will be unique in most settings that I imagine he encounters. But where does the dress cane come from? Well, if we look way back, prior to the sort of 16th, 17th century, gentlemen would have carried swords or edged weapons as part of their dressing accessories. Most men would have left the house carrying a rapier or some other form of, as I say, edged weapon, because it was a necessary item for their self-defense. Of course, as times have changed, in the 16th, 17th century, gentlemen stopped carrying swords and started carrying dress canes. These would have had a function of defense. They could be used to repel an attacker, a robber in the street, quite possibly. They could also have been used to help support you. It is in effect a walking stick, a cane. But I think more than that, they were really and truly accessories for the sartorial gentleman. They would have been beautifully constructed out of rattan or malacca. They would have had ornate carvings on the head or the handle, or they may have been made of, the handle may have been made of precious metals, or even contained other functions like a watch or a clock. The dress cane could have also housed a weapon. It could have had a sword stick within it, which again would have fulfilled the old function of being a weapon of defence. Or in some cases, we know that many canes actually housed a flask within the shaft, so that they could have carried a little bit of their own favourite liqueur around with them. And those were known as tipple canes or tipplers. So that if you were out and you needed a little top up, you could have just taken the head off your walking stick, had a little snifter, and felt better prepared for the day. So different times, different things. But today, the dress cane has fallen pretty much into abeyance when it comes to being a sartorial accessory, I think, in the 20th century. Men perhaps would have carried them in the first half of that century, but now, as I say, it would be quite a rarity to see a gentleman carrying a dress cane. Of course, canes have been carried as a symbol of office for centuries. If you look at the British Houses of Parliament, one of the people within that institution is called Black Rod, and that's an usher, sergeant at arms within the Houses of Parliament, whose job it is to look after security. But his symbol of office is the Black Rod, and that is a black stick made of ebony, topped off with a gold finial, decorative in nature, which is, the symbol of their responsibility. In the military, certainly in the British military, senior non-commissioned officers carry a cane, a stick, a pace stick, which symbolises their role, their responsibility as a leader of enlisted men. So, the cane has still some function in modern life, but it's true to say, kind of slipped into history to a large degree. Now, in answering Sam's question, has he crossed the line? Has he become a peacock? A chap who walks out with this highly distinctive accessory in the knowledge that it's going to attract attention and people are going to, really think of him as a flamboyant, possibly slightly eccentric person, and he worries that that's the way he'll be portrayed. Well, I think in his letter, Sam has answered his own question. He talks about his journey, his sartorial journey through life, and he's come to the stage of his evolution as a sartorial chap that he feels comfortable carrying the cane. He actually goes as far to say, if you remember, it made him feel great, and it elicited conversations with strangers, which were positive in nature. Now, that's not being a peacock. A peacock is somebody who likes to attract attention for the sake of attention. For me, Sam is on a different journey here. It's his own evolution as a sartorial gentleman, and the conversations which befall his dressing in that nature, and not because he likes to be that centre of attention, it's because he's evolved to that plateau as a gentleman. So personally, Sam, I don't think you've got any trouble at all. I don't think you're a peacock. You're just somebody who's on a different trajectory to perhaps, some of your contemporaries. And hey, if it opens conversations with strangers who might shortly become friends, is that not reason in itself to continue with your path? Now, the reason I'm wearing a cravat today is to just demonstrate to you that it's not just yourself. Now, a cravat is, it's true to say, something which has fallen into abeyance in general wear here in the UK. I can't speak for other countries, but if I walked the streets of my town today all day, I'd be unlikely to see somebody else wearing a cravat. So it makes me in a very small percentage of people who enjoy them. My wife hates me wearing a cravat. She always says it makes me look like an old man. I think her grandfather was a cravat wearer, and it puts her in mind of an elder generation of people, perhaps middle class, staid in nature, and not really befitting of a younger man. I've got a close friend, John, who also verbally tells me every time he sees me wearing a cravat, it makes me look like this throwback to a bygone era of the country club and that, middle class chap in the bar with a cigar. I couldn't disagree more. I think the cravat is a visual demonstration of my character and my personality. It affords me an opportunity of displaying some colour, some texture, some pattern where perhaps I wouldn't be able to do so otherwise. You know, unless you want to wear a necktie, I think, or a bow tie, the cravat is the next best thing to put your taste and your class on display to the world. It's also very comfortable, keeps your neck nice and snug as well, and it, as I say, visually there's little more interest you can bring to your collar. But in spite of overwhelming negativity from the people I ask for my compliments in life, I continue to wear a cravat because I know I wear it for me. I don't wear it for anybody else, I wear it because I like it. And Sam, if you enjoy stepping out with a dress cane, you should continue to do so. It's got heritage, it's got history, it's been there for hundreds of years. Who knows, you may introduce it to the next generation. And if you do, you have my salute at the end of this video, sir. It's for you. So, I hope you've enjoyed this quick discussion today about a question I've received in my correspondence. If you would like me to answer a question that you may have with my observation, drop me an email. My email address is in the About section on the channel, or drop me a comment in the comments section below and I'll be delighted to get back to you. I'll either write to you or I may even make a video in response if my thoughts are strong enough. So until the next time, chaps, take care of yourselves, dress the way you want to dress, and I'll see you soon.